What's up everybody, D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla Kong news roundup. That's right, in this video we will be continuing our chronological journey through the development and release of Godzilla Kong: The New Empire and the next MonsterVerse movie by finishing off the events that happened in May. And in this one it's finally time. We have been inevitably barreling towards this ultimate conclusion. Today we will be talking about why Adam Wingard left the MonsterVerse. Let's get into it. Starting out with some art, like always, this first piece comes to us from Neo's Convoy, and it's not as much of an art as it is an alteration to a piece that exists. This is taking Jared Krzyzewski's Godzilla Evolved concept art and rechanging the colors from pink back to blue. I don't know about you guys, I just think this is so much more classically Godzilla. I mean, obviously it is. It just has more of the Godzilla feel to it. I'm not a fan of the pink. I don't think it worked as well as the purple for Shin Godzilla, for instance. With Shin Godzilla, it felt more royal, it felt more thematic, it felt more special. With the New Empire, it felt more gimmicky, and the pink didn't feel Godzilla, you know? Especially considering the MonsterVerse Godzilla has already been very established as blue. So I'm very, very into this, and honestly, that one tiny tweak, it takes this design up so much for me. I love it. I think it looks great. Someone responded by posting this picture of Godzilla Evolved roaring from the New Empire, just color pitched blue again. And again, it really does a lot in terms of making this feel like Godzilla to me and not making this feel like a gimmick. I think it looks awesome. Not to say Pink Godzilla is bad inherently. This art piece from Tanner Wright shows Pink Godzilla looking incredible. Also awesome to show some more Tanner's artwork. It's been a while, but this is an awesome one of Godzilla protecting Zuko. I'm excited to see what else the rest of this piece is going to be, as I believe Tanner's still working on it, but this is so great. And I'd be very curious to see Godzilla interact with Zuko on screen. I love the lightning effects going on all over Godzilla. Love the streams coming out of his mouth and his eyes. That is sick as hell. All right, man, it's time to jump into our talks for the next MonsterVerse film. Dave Callaham signs on to write the next MonsterVerse movie. As the MonsterVerse becomes a $2.5 billion franchise at the global box office, Legendary signed Dave Callaham on to the next film as its writer. This was pretty important because he is not Adam Wingard's frequent collaborators. He's not one of the frequent collaborators with Adam Wingard, which was a big signal that Wingard wasn't coming back. And also because he's not Max Bornstein, who was the writer of all of Phase 1 of the MonsterVerse. Maybe one of the main reasons Phase 1 felt so cohesive, whereas Phase 2 feels like just it's a lot of nothing. We've got the Skull Island anime, Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, New Empire, all going in different directions. So I'm curious to see what happens next. Callaham is no stranger to cinematic universes, having previously written Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings being his biggest credit. They also point out how Callaham wrote the early drafts and received story by credits for Godzilla 2014. I did not know that, but that's very exciting. The early drafts of 2014 are very dark, very grim, very gritty, very interesting. I'm actually glad it went under the evolution it did to wind up in the final position it did with the movie it became, but I'm excited to see that a writer for 2014 is back for the next movie. Callahan's other credits include The Expendables, Mortal Kombat 2021, and Wonder Woman 1984, so not great, but he also co-wrote Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is an awesome movie, although not as good as Into the Spider-Verse, so that is pretty hopeful. The article then mentions how Legendary formally stated their desires for Adam Wingard to return, but Wingard did not sign any deals at the time, pointing out that instead, Adam Wingard went to A24 to make an original movie called Onslaught before returning to any previous projects he was involved with, whether it be Godzilla, Face Off, Thundercats, or whatever. Speaking of Onslaught, what is it? Well, Adam Wingard signed on with A24 for a movie called Onslaught on May 2nd. With him, writer Simon Barrett from Your Next, The Guest, and Godzilla X Kong joined, another indication that Wingard was not going to be back. The film is an Adam Wingard original action horror thriller film, much like The Guest, blending genres. Wingard was shopping the film around, but ultimately A24 wound up coming in with such an aggressive offer that Adam Wingard got this huge back-end deal off of if the movie does well, and so he had no choice but to accept it. The film will star Dan Stevens and Rebecca Hall from Godzilla Kong: The New Empire as well, showing that those actors really enjoy working with Wingard, and that was the thing that broke the camel's back. We finally learned Adam Wingard has left the MonsterVerse. It was stated that Adam Wingard left on incredibly friendly, mutual, peaceful, and respectful terms that ultimately come down to nothing except timing. That's it. The door is left wide open for Adam Wingard to return in the future if he should so want to, but for now, Adam Wingard has stepped away. The Hollywood Reporter explains that it's unclear if any of Adam Wingard's hopes for the future of the MonsterVerse are followed up on in the next film, but that for now, he is gone. So what does all this mean? Well, Adam Wingard stated his ideas for the next MonsterVerse movie, and it was greenlit while he was still in talks to return. So I think there's a lot of influence he might have over the direction the next movie is heading in. I've heard some ideas for the next movie of where things might have been going. While I've had one sequence explained to me in detail, and the rest of it was all very vague, it's hard to say if any of that will be followed up upon. I will say one thing I did know is that it heavily relied on Trapper, and Dan Stevens is confirmed to be returning. When Dan Stevens and Rebecca Hall signed on to Onslaught, a lot of people thought they left with Wingard and would not be back for the MonsterVerse. And while I've heard inside reports that there are a number of actors who are like, if Adam Wingard's not going to be there, count me out. Dan Stevens, I thought, was one of them. I didn't hear specifics on who those actors were, but I did hear a lot of actors were like, I'll come back with him, but I don't really want to do it if he's not there. He makes them fun, and I don't want to do it without him. Rebecca Hall very well might have been one of them. I could see Brian Tyree Henry being another one, but for now, Dan Stevens is back as the only confirmed returning character of the MonsterVerse so far for the new movie. But I'm curious to see how much of those original ideas make it into the next movie. From the inside reports I heard as well, and this comes from both filmmakers who have worked on the MonsterVerse movies and also people I know who know Adam Wingard personally, every single person involved has told me it is a completely mutual decision that ultimately comes down to timing. Adam Wingard was excited about an idea, he had a movie that he wanted to work on, and unfortunately, Legendary could not wait for him. We saw them do the same thing with Gareth Edwards way back in 2015, and Adam Wingard recently revealed that he explained that he wanted to work on other projects right after Godzilla vs. Kong and was told Legendary was not willing to wait for him not even just one single year. They needed him to do New Empire immediately. And I could see how that can be incredibly draining to have to work on the same project for nearly a decade and never get to explore any other ideas. So I do not blame him for walking away. I completely understand why he would have done that, and I wish him all the luck. I love the guest. I thought Your Next was also great, so I'm incredibly excited to find out what this next movie he's working on is. I'm excited for Onslaught, and I'm also excited that the MonsterVerse has now been opened back up to go in a brand new direction with new creative voices that can take us to places that we don't expect. I think if Adam Wingard returned, we kind of know what we'd be getting into at this point. And I'm excited to find out what a new director will bring to the table, as it's going to be unexplored material, which is exactly what I'm excited for. It could be awesome, it could suck, I don't know. I hope it doesn't suck, but I am excited to find out where we head from here. Alrighty, thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Big thank you to all my patrons over on Patreon. I really appreciate the support. Supporting the Patreon is the most direct way to support this channel, and it's the most direct way to make sure that I can continue to make videos like this for you. If you want to support the Patreon, you can use the link in the description below where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. If that's not your thing, please consider joining as a channel member. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time for the next one. D-Man